All right, guys. For today, we are getting into synthetic division. I love synthetic division. It's fun. It's easy. I think it's fun. I think it's fun. Oh, math is fun. I don't know what you're talking about. Everyday math is fun. This one, I love. All right, this is something totally different. You've never seen it before. Nobody freak out at me when I do the first time, okay? Because you're going to be like, what did you just do? Okay, I promise you we'll do a couple and you'll be like, oh, I got it, okay? And then we'll go back to the last problem we did on Friday. Do you remember this one? Look in your notes from Friday if you wrote this one down. It was really long. You guys remember you're like complaining and whining because it kept going on and on and on forever? We'll come back and look at this one in a little bit, okay? All right, so synthetic division. The reason I don't just teach you this is because it cannot be used for everything. Yeah, it does. It can be used only if the divisor is in the form x minus a, where a is just some number. So if I'm dividing by x minus 5, if I'm dividing by x plus 2, if I'm dividing by x minus 100, okay, it has to be x and then plus or minus a number. Okay, if it's an x squared, can't do it. If it's x squared minus 2x, can't do it. If it's x minus 5x squared, can't do it. Okay, if it's 2x minus 5, can't do it. It's got to be just x number. Okay, now granted, where we're going with all of this in the next section, you'll use this a lot. Okay, so this is great. We use this one more often than the long division. All right, so here's your steps. Step 1, write the coefficients. What's a coefficient? The number in front, including the zeros. Here's where, if you're going to mess this up, it's where it's going to happen. If you go from x cubed to x and you're missing the x squared term, you have to put a 0 in place for that. We have to stair step down every single one of them. Okay, so it makes sure it's in standard form. All right, then you will omit all variables and all exponents. What's omit mean? Ignore, leave out, don't write it down. I'm only writing down numbers. All right, and then for the divisor, you will use the opposite sign of a, or you can think of it as the answer if you solved. So for example, if I told you that you were dividing by x minus 6, what would x equal? 6. Right? If I said it was x plus 2, what would x equal? Negative 2. Okay? So you're answering, you're solving that part. All right. I'm going to jump in. We're going to do this. Nobody freak out. Okay? Somebody will, but don't. All right, here we go. So first thing I said is write down all of the coefficients, including any zeros. So first, before we write anything down, are we missing any pieces of it? Because it goes x cubed, x squared, x to the first number. Are we good? We're good. Okay, nothing's missing. It's stair step down nice. So my coefficients, that's a 1, 5, negative 7, watch your signs, and a positive 2. Okay, so I'm just writing them all down. Then instead of like your radicand that we normally have, it's like backwards, upside down, and leave a space underneath your numbers. I told you this is different. You've never seen anything like this. All right, so if x minus 2 is what I'm dividing by, what does x equal? 2. So that's what goes out in front. We're almost done. Did you believe that? All I've done is set it up, and we're almost done. All right, so this, whatever your first number that you wrote down, draw me an arrow underneath it, and it drops straight down. Whatever it is. If that was a 5, I'd write down a 5. If it was a 7, I'd write down a 7. Okay? We are going to multiply this number by this number. 2 times 1 is 2. And then you will add or subtract, depending what signs you got there, right here. What's 5 plus 2? Multiply. What is 2 times 7? Then add or subtract, depending on your signs. Negative 7 and 14. And then we multiply again. 2 times 7. And then you add. We're almost done. We just got to put our variables back in. Okay. Now, this was an x cubed. We are dividing out an x, right? So So this will always drop down by 1. So if it had started x to the 4th, I'd go x cubed. If it had started x to the 7th, I would go x to the 6th. Okay, it always drops down by 1. So I'm going to fill in, this is x squared. That's a positive 7. The next one would be an x, right? I'm stair-stepping my way down. Plus 7. So what's the 16 have to be? It's my remainder. I'm done. It doesn't work on everything. Now, that being said, let's look at it from long division again, because that's what we did on Friday. I want you to see the difference, okay? You can write it down or not write it down. It's up to you guys. But I want to kind of show you so you can see the difference. So x cubed is 5x squared divided by x minus 2. All right, so if we did the long division, what do you multiply x to get x cubed? Guys, I need you to pay attention. You've got to recognize the difference here. So we would distribute and get x cubed. So I can't write on the side of the board. It's weird to me. Sorry. That gives me minus 2x squared. Then you had to change your signs. We got 7x squared. And we brought everything else down. And we started over. X times what is 7x squared? 7x. We distributed. Minus 14x. Are you seeing some familiar numbers as we're going through this, though, that what we just did? Change your signs. It gave me 7x plus 2. What do you multiply x to get 7x? 7. Distribute. 7x minus 14. Change your signs. That gave you 16 for your remainder over x minus 2. Same thing. Which would you rather do? Synthetic. Look how much faster, it's cleaner, it's neater. But do you see some of the similar numbers through the long division? It's going on in there, it is. All right, let's try another one. So number 2. First of all, look for anything missing. Look for those zeros. Is anything missing in this one? X cubed, x squared, x to the first number. So I have everything. I'm not missing anything when I stair step down. So let's set it up. Coefficients first. So 1, negative 14. Good. Very good. Make sure you keep all those signs in there. Set up the upside down little dividing thing. All right, if it's x plus 2, what does x equal? Negative 2. So that's what goes over here. All right, so there's my setup. Just writing all the coefficients. Write the answer to what I'm dividing by on the outside. Let's drop down that first number. Why do you think I told you to write an arrow in there? So I know to drop it, and there's another reason I want you to write it. Justin? A placeholder. Thank you. Because I don't want you to like accidentally write something underneath there and try to do some more math and get yourself all confused. Okay? So you're always think about a multiplication sign and an addition sign. Multiplying is always at the angled ones. So I'm always going to, every time I'm doing this, it's at an angle. That's when I'm multiplying. An addition sign is the straight up and down part. Straight up and down is when I'm adding or subtracting them. Okay? So let's go ahead and start. Multiply negative 2 times 1. And then we add negative 14 and negative 2, negative 16. And then you multiply negative 2 times negative 16, positive 32. This is where people start to panic because their numbers get crazy. 51 and 32 is 83. Good. Multiply here. Gives me negative 166. Negative 220. So should I panic that my remainder is so big? No, I shouldn't panic. It happens. But I got to put my variables back in. Since this is x cubed, this one's going to be x squared. This one is the x. Don't forget to put those pluses back in because the plus signs aren't there. So what's the 220? That's my remainder. So is x plus 2 a factor of that? No, there's a remainder. Okay. How are we doing so far? Doing all right? The remainder part? Plus or minus. Adding, subtracting, they're the same idea. All right, so divide, use synthetic division. Is the divisor a factor of the polynomial? Okay, so when we set this up, what do you notice right away of this problem? They're not in order. We need to make sure it's in order. So it should be 2x cubed plus x squared minus 8x plus 5. Okay, I need them to be in the right order. If it's not in standard form, it's going to be wrong. All right, so are you missing anything? No, I'm on x cubed, x squared, x to the first number. So they stair step down beautifully. So let's go ahead and set it up. So I have 2, 1, -8, and 5. All right, I'm dividing by x plus 3. So what does x equal? X equals -3. So that's what goes over here. So that 2 that's first, I'm still going to drop that straight down. Go ahead and try to finish it. All right, so setting it up. Some of you, I think, are discovering that your basic math skills are a little lacking, okay? -3 times 2. Yeah, not everyone knew that today. All right, I know. I'll give you that. All right, so then we have 1 minus 6, because there's a minus sign in front of that, which is -5. Then we multiply. -3 times -5, positive 15. So -8 plus 15, 7. Multiply. -3 times 7, -21. And then 5 minus 21 is -16. All right, we got to put the x's back in. So this one was an x cubed. Austin and Ron, you need to stop talking today, please. So this is an x cubed, so this one's going to be an x squared. And this is an x. Make sure you put the plus sign back in between there, because you don't typically write the plus when it's a positive number. And then this number must be my remainder. So to answer the question, is x plus 3 a factor of that? No, not a factor, because there's a remainder. It's awesome. There is no GCF? Not necessarily, because there's a possibility that it may factor, but the thing I asked you to divide by is just not a factor of it. All right, take a look at number 4. Okay, good. Number 4 is just written slightly different. Is anything missing? Yes. Guys, let's take a look at what happens with something missing. Because if you look at this problem, it goes x cubed to x. It's missing the x squared in here. So it's kind of like you need a 0x squared to be in place, because I need to stair step every piece. So when I set this up, I'm going to have 1 from this one. I need the 0 from the x squared. Then I have a -57 and a 56. What am I dividing by? 7, because the answer to this is 7. If you do not put in that 0, it'll be wrong. Okay? So you have to make sure you're watching for those zeros. And sometimes you have more than one 0 in a problem. All right, so let's go ahead and try this. 7 times 1. 0 plus 7. You'd be shocked how many people miss this. 7, yeah. 7 times 7. -57 plus 49. -8. Watch your signs. And then 7 times -8 56 minus 56, 0. All right, we have to fill our variables back in. This one started x cubed, so this one is x squared plus 7x minus 8. What's the 0 in the end mean? There's no remainder. So is x minus 7 a factor of that? Yes, it is. Because there is a 0 for a remainder. And again, as we progress further and further into this chapter, you're going to want zeros for remainders, okay, for us to continue going further with all this. So are we loving synthetic division? Much better. All right, number 5. Anything missing? Yeah, that squared's missing. It should be in between here. So we need to make sure we're not losing the fact that something's missing. And always double check. Again, you could be missing more than one piece. All right, so let's set it up. We have 3, negative 5, 0, negative 4, negative 6. What are you dividing by? 2, because x equals 2 right there. That first number, drop it straight down. Make sure you put the little arrow in there. And then we multiply. 2 times 3. Negative 5 plus 6. 1 or negative 1? Just 1. Multiply 2 times 1. 0 plus 2. 2 times 2. Negative 4 plus 4. 2 times 0. You'd be shocked how many people miss that one. Negative 6 plus 0. So right before I even put anything back into this, will you have a remainder? Yeah. If you got a number at the end, that's a remainder. All right, here we go. This one was x to the 4th, so this one is x cubed. Plus 1x squared plus 2x plus 0, and then the negative 6 is the remainder. Do you need the plus 0 in there? No, you wouldn't have to write plus 0. All right, now guys, I want to kind of give you a little bit of advice as you're working through these. If you go all the way through the problem and you go to put your x's back in and you don't even have anything written for where the remainder should be, whether it's a 0 or something else, you did something wrong. Okay, I want to kind of just caution you, because a lot of times you get going, you're moving fast, and you're like, you totally miss it. There should be a 0 in the original, something was missing. So when you go through and put everything back in, if you don't have something at the end for a remainder, 0 or otherwise, you messed up. Okay, you probably forgot a 0 in the original problem. Okay, so just kind of a heads up, watch for that. All right, let's go back real quick to the problem that we did on Friday that you guys whined and complained so much because it went on and on and on. That was not it. I went too far. There it is. All right. Is anything missing? A lot, right? Okay, so we have the 1, though, for the x to the 5th, right? But you're missing x to the 4th, x to the 3rd, x squared, x, and then negative 32. So is it possible that a lot of zeros could be in there? You betcha. Okay, so you got to watch for all those. And then you'd be dividing by 2. See the difference from what you did on Friday when it was super long to this. So 2 times 1. This gives me 2. Multiply. It's 4. 4. Multiply. 8. Multiply. 16. Multiply. Positive 32. So that gives me 0. I start at x to the 5th. So all mine start at x to the 4th. X cubed. X squared. X 16, and my remainder of 0. Look how much faster that was compared to what you did on Friday. Beautiful, right? We're getting there. Yeah. All right. Oh no, we're gonna finish up the notes today. Oh Oh, stop whining. Sorry. All right, we're going to do our brain break. No, I'm not. It's paused. Oh. All right, so the next part is kind of putting together stuff we've done in the past with our synthetic division and kind of putting them all together. Okay, and again, I'm baby stepping you for the next section that's coming up. All right, so steps for factoring with synthetic division. Use synthetic division to divide the polynomial by the given factor. So you're going to use synthetic, we're going to do what we just learned. Remember that your remainder should be 0, right? Because if it's a factor and I don't get a 0 for a remainder, in this case, you're going to do something wrong because my directions are going to be to factor. Okay, so it should be a 0 for remainder. Factor the new polynomial using guess and check. Options for A, options for C, all that good stuff. And then write all the factors, including the given factor, for your final answer. Okay? We can do this. All right, so here we go. Use synthetic division and the given factor to completely factor the polynomial function. We can do this. So it wants me to use the given one and use synthetic. So let's go ahead and set up synthetic division. Anything missing? No. Okay, so 1, -3, -10, 24. Okay, then what? 2. Right, because if I looked at this, x equals 2. Drop the first one down, and let's use synthetic. So 2 times 1, -3 and 2, -1. Nope, we're just factoring. 2 times -1 is -2. -10, -2 is -12. 2 times -12 is -24. Remainder of 0. Again, if my directions are asking you to factor, then it will be a remainder of 0. So if you don't get that, you know something's wrong. All right, filling back in. This was x cubed, so I'm going with x squared minus 1x minus 12. And then you factor. Okay, this is just our standard factoring. What are your signs? Options for A, x and x. And then, oh, I heard it. 4 and 3. Which one's negative? So then we factor that. All right. I want you to stop and think for a minute. Come all the way back to the beginning. This was x cubed. So how many factors should I have? Should I have 3? Where's the third one? I gave you one. You would be shocked how many people will miss a point on the test because they don't write down the given. We're not solving. Not solving. We're just factoring. Yes, I would. The directions, do they say solve? Nope. It says to completely factor. Because you didn't follow directions. No. Just factoring. Some of them get a little trickier, but yeah. Not so bad, right? All right. Here we go. Let's set up anything missing. No. Okay, so 1, 4, -9, -36. We're dividing by -3. Because again, x equals -3. All right, drop down the 1. All right, go through your synthetic. I know a lot of you are working kind of at your own pace here. All right, what happens if you don't get a 0 for a remainder? You did something wrong. Good, you did something wrong. All right, so this was x cubed, so mine's going to be x squared plus 1x minus 12. My remainder is 0. So we need to factor. What are your signs? Plus and minus. Is this the same problem as before? Good. Good. X and x, it's going to be a +4 this time and a -3. There should be 3 factors. X plus 3. Yeah, don't forget that given one as part of it. I'll be honest with you guys, when it comes time for your Chapter 5 test, historically the worst part of the test are these problems. I think because you don't understand the directions. Like, you make it harder than it actually is. I think that's what it is. Yeah. But it doesn't seem so bad, right? Yeah, I know. We talked about that on Friday. All right. Number 3, on your own. On your own. All right, guys. Yes. Ron got it right. Ron, what's my family dressing up as for Halloween? Yeah, we're Mario characters. No. All right, here we go, guys. Number 3. Number 3. I'll bring in pictures from our when we all are dressed up together. I'll let you guys see it. All right, so here we go. So we have 2, -9, -6, 5. What am I dividing by? 5. Drop that down. So we do our synthetic. All right, and then this was x cubed, so this becomes x squared plus 1x minus 1, no remainder. We need to factor this. So I have 1 plus, 1 minus. Options for A, so 2 and 1, so 2x and 1x. Options for C, 1 and 1. If I check this, my signs are backwards. So there we go. But I should have 3 factors. X minus 5. Again, guys, do the mental check. How many should you have? If you don't have them all based on its exponent, you need to go back and figure out which one's missing. Guys, on that quiz that you guys took, a lot of you didn't have the right number of answers even written down. You didn't go back and check. How many answers should I have? Yes, ma'am. See? See? It helps to go back. Just do that little bit of check. All right. Given 1, 0, write the polynomial in factored form using synthetic division. What's different? Yeah, they gave me the answer. So where does x equals -4, where does that come from? X plus 4. Yeah, before they gave you the factor and you had to like solve it to figure out what you're dividing by. Now they gave you the answer, so you have to put it back when you go to factor, right, to write it down. All right, so just be aware. It'll be given to you both ways, so you need to make sure you know which one you're doing. Anything missing? No? So 3, 13, 2, -8. So I'm dividing by -4. They actually gave that part to me. Okay, so let's go through to your synthetic. Synthetic's fun. Once you get really comfortable with it, to see how fast you can go. It's fun. Yeah, it is. It's fun. It's fun. All right, so there's your synthetic. This one started x cubed, so mine is x squared plus 1x minus 2, 0 for remainder. And then we're supposed to factor. What are your signs? Plus, minus. Options for A, 1 and 3, 1x and 3x. Options for C. You want to go 1 and 2 or 2 and 1? 1 and 2. Double check, 3x minus 2x. My signs are good. Am I good? Done? Yeah, don't forget, you need the other factor, x plus 4. How are we feeling about today's lesson? Synthetic division day, right? Awesome. Derek knows how to do something. Congratulations, Derek. Congratulations. All right. I'm going to kind of jump around here a little bit since we seem to be doing okay. Let's take it up a notch. Let's take it up a notch. Yeah, I just skipped a whole bunch. Sorry. Those of you who are working ahead, sorry. I'm hop, skip, jump around. I don't want to overkill you, right? If you know how to do something, why keep beating a dead horse, right? You guys know that saying, beat a dead horse? All right, so factor completely using the given 0 or factor. Why is this one different? That's an x to the 5th. All right, is anything missing? So 5th, 4th, 3rd, squared, first number. Okay, I got everything. So let's set it up. 1, 4. Yeah, this one would have 5 answers when you go to solve this. So 1, 4, 3, 12, negative 10, negative 40. What am I dividing by? Negative 4. All right, so let's go through our synthetic division. I'll do mine, you do yours. So nobody panic when you get to a point. All right, so once I do my synthetic, you should have a lot of zeros kind of showed up in there. All right, let's go ahead and put our x's back in. So this one was x to the 5th. So this will be x to the 4th plus 0x cubed plus 3x squared plus 0x minus 10, no remainder. All right, now if I ask you to factor that, is anybody panicking a little bit? What is not necessary? The 0 stuff, right? I don't need those. So like if I just rewrite this as what I have, x to the 4th plus 3x squared minus 10. Does that look like something you can factor? Yeah, it should. Well, based on that quiz, maybe some of you can. But so let's set up our parentheses. What are your signs? Signs. Plus, minus, thank you. Good. X squared and x squared. 1 and 10 or 2 and 5? Which one's good? Negative 2, positive 5? Can either one of those be factored further? Remember IXL made you, if it was difference of squares, factor further? Either of those factor further? No. Difference of squares has to be a minus sign and a perfect square. I got the minus, but 2 is not a perfect square. If you'd end up with like x squared minus 4, then you'd have to factor that further. Okay? But I didn't have them there. So then what else am I missing? And then the x plus 4. Now, when I'm doing my mental check of how many I should have, I only have 3 written there. But how many answers will you get from this one? I'll get 2 answers from this one, 2 answers from that one, and another one there. So I'll get my 5 answers. They just didn't factor further to have 5 separate parentheses. Doing all right? You can do that, right? All right. How about that one? Factor completely using the given 0 or factor. Anything missing? Yeah, stuff's missing. Stuff's missing. All right, so I have 1, negative 2. You're missing the x cubed, so there's a 0 for that one. 729, negative 1, 4, 5, 8, and a 0 on the end. All right, you're missing that constant too. What am I dividing by? 2 or negative 2? Positive 2. They gave you x equals 2. Yeah, every time we were always dividing by whatever it equaled, so they actually gave that part to us. So this one's a little tricky, just in you have zeros that you have to put in there, and they gave you the x equals part, so we don't have to change that. All right, let's do our synthetic. So that gives me 2, 0, 0, 0, 0, 729, 1858, 0, 0, 0. 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0. A lot of zeros. Should get excited that there's that many zeros, though, right? No? All right, let's put our x's back in. This one was x to the 5th, so this one is x to the 4th, plus 0x cubed plus 0x squared plus 729x plus 0 and 0 for a remainder. So once you fill the x's back in, when you go to factor, do you need anything that has a 0 on it? No. So really I'm looking at x to the 4th. I don't need the 0, don't need the 0, plus 729x. I don't need the 0, don't need the 0. Here's the factoring most of you hate. Selena? No. Hey guys, what's the first thing you look for? Thank you. GCF. Take out an X. A lot of people did that on their quiz. Good. So plus 729. All right, so take out your GCF. Take out the X. Now it's both cubes. This is the SOAP pattern. Okay, so baby brother, leave him there. Set up your parentheses. This is where we use SOAP. So same sign is a plus, opposite is a minus, and then always positive. This is where most of you need the most help, is these problems. Okay, so using the SOAP. Then we take the cubed roots. Cubed root of x cubed is x. Cubed root of 729. It's 9. All right, and then it's square, multiply, square. So what is x squared? We multiply 9 times x, and then you square, which is 81. Does that factor further? No, it never factors further. You guys don't listen when I talk to you. Never factors further. Are we solving? No, I'm not solving. Am I done? Good answer. Circle it. X minus 2. There we go. That looks better. So is it possible all the different types of factoring we've done all come back again? Yes. Yeah, they come back. Probably for the most part, they'll be your standard, just options for A, options for C kind of thing. But it is possible this comes up. Is it possible you have 4 terms and you have to do grouping? Yeah, that comes up as well. You got to just be able to recognize the types of factoring. All right, anyone need any further examples? Or we feel like we're okay? Austin, are we feeling okay? Okay.